Vine POV. Vine was sitting on her bed wearing a pink color silk night dress which hugged her body like she was trying to seduce the moon while reading Haunting Ireland, with her jaws dropping with every page she turned. What's happening in this book? Saint Meadows? Damn. She bit her lips in excitement and curiosity. She was not even aware that her phone ringing constantly on her desk because she put it on silent mode before going to reading as always. Jungkook POV. Why is she not picking up the calls? How many times do I even have to call her just to talk to her? Did something bad happen? Or is she avoiding me? Did I do anything that hurt her recently? No, not in my memory. Damn God, why is this girl ruling so simply my mind and my body? Am I that weak? Wait, she is gonna be my wife anyway. Why am I even thinking this much? God, this is not helping much. Don't you know that I can't sleep without talking to her? That's it, I'm going to her house. She stood up from his bed and took the bike key and his helmet. In silence, he walked towards the main door from his room without making any sound because his parents and brother already slept early. He doesn't want them to wake and find out that he is sneaking out to see his fiance at midnight. The clock had just struck past midnight when the world outside seemed frozen in silence. The faint rustle of leaves in the cool night breeze, the distant hum of crickets, and the occasional bark of a stray dog were the only sounds that dared to disturb the calm. But Jungkook's mind was anything but calm. He tightened his grip around the handlebar of his bike as he parked it silently at the corner of Vine Street. His heart was racing faster than the engine had a few minutes ago. What was he even doing? He should have been asleep like every other sane person in the neighborhood. But no, here he was, sneaking out like a lovesick thief in the middle of the night, all because his fiancée hadn't picked up his calls. What if something happened to her? What if she was sick or crying or worse, ignoring me on purpose? The last thought made his jaw tighten, his knuckles flexing around his helmet as he slipped it off. He exhaled slowly, shaking his head. You are insane, Jungkook, he muttered to himself under his breath, though it did nothing to stop the pull he felt toward the house at the end of the lane. But she is mine, and if she won't answer me, I will make her. Vine's bedroom window glowed faintly with warm light, its curtains dancing lazily in the wind. He could see the shadow of her from moving inside. Relief fluttered in his chest. She was safe, but at the same time, irritation simmered beneath it. Safe, yes, but ignoring him. Jungkook took one careful glance around the neighborhood, making sure no watchful eyes were on him, and then made his way toward the side of the house. His footsteps were nearly soundless, the training from sneaking out during high school days to meet her not wasted. He climbed the familiar pipe near her window, pulling himself up with ease, his muscles flexing with every careful movement. Inside, Vine sat curled up on her bed, completely oblivious to the storm brewing outside her little world. The silk of her night dress clung to her skin in the softest ways, a pale pink shimmer against the lamplight. Her hair spilled down her shoulders as her eyes devoured the lines of Horn and Adeline, lips parted unconsciously as though drinking in every forbidden word. She bit her lip as she flipped another page, her chest rising and falling with quickened breaths. If someone had looked at her from the outside, they would think she was committing a sin just by reading, and maybe she was, because she didn't notice. The phone on her desk buzzing silently with Jungkook's name flashing again and again. Jungkook's brows furrowed as he posed himself at the window, taking in the scene. She is reading? That's why she didn't answer me? This woman is driving me mad. He shook his head, sliding the glass open inch by inch until the cool air drifted inside. Not a sound escaped him. He slipped in with practiced grace, his tall frame pitching through the space as though he had done this 100 times before. And maybe he had. Vine didn't even notice. She was too wrapped up in Saint Meadows, too enchanted by a dark fictional man who didn't even exist. Jungkook's lips quirked into a smirk at the side. Jealousy flickered, but it was quickly overshadowed by something more mischievous. Before she could turn another page, a hand clamped gently but firmly over her mouth. Vine's body jerked violently, her eyes widening in pure panic. The book slipped from her lap, falling onto the bedspread with a soft thud. She tried to scream, her muffled voice vibrating against a palm that silenced her. Her heart hammered in her chest as she clawed at her hand, fear flooding her veins. In a swift motion, Jungkook twisted her body gently against his, trapping her between his chest and the bed. His lips brushed dangerously close to her ear as he whispered low and husky, "Shh, it's me." The familiarity of the voice struck her like lightning, and her panic dissolved instantly into a different kind of chaos. Her eyes snapped to his as he revealed himself, his dark hair falling messily over his forehead, his gaze sharp, intense, and infuriatingly beautiful. "Jungkook," she hissed once he released her mouth, her voice a mix of anger. "What the hell are you doing here? You scared me to death." He leaned back just slightly, though his body remained close, dangerously close. The corner of his lips curled upward in satisfaction at her reaction. "Scared you? Good. Now maybe you will remember to pick up the phone next time I call 100 times in a row." Vine blinked, then finally noticed her phone lying abandoned on the desk. Her jaw dropped slightly, guilt creeping up her spine. I put it on silent before reading. I didn't even realize." "Didn't realize?" His voice dipped lower, that mix of irritation and teasing that only he could manage. "I was losing my mind thinking something happened to you. And here you are." His eyes flicked down briefly, noting the night dress clinging to her, which was practically see-through, then back up with a smirk. "Dressed like this, reading a book about another man?" Heat flooded her cheeks as she snatched the book from the bed, hugging it against her chest. "It's just a story." Jungkook plucked it from her arms before she could protest, flipping it open casually. His eyes scanned the page she had been on, and his smirk deepened with every sentence he read. The tension in the room shifted, thickened until even the silence between them felt dangerous. He read aloud, his voice dripping with mockery yet tinged with something darker. He pinned her against the wall, his breath hot against her skin, every inch of him demanding she surrender. Vine's face burned. "Jungkook." She reached to snatch it back, but he only held it higher, out of her reach, his grin spreading like wildfire. His eyes sparkled as he looked down at her. "So, this is what you are into, huh? Dangerous man sneaking into bedrooms, pinning girls down and making them surrender?" "It's fiction." She stammered through the heat in her body betrayed her words. Jungkook tilted his head, stepping closer until his chest brushed hers. "Should we?" He leaned down, his lips brushing her ear again. "Recreate what's written on this page?" The world still, her breath caught. His words slithered into her veins like fire. The teasing glint in his eyes, the subtle challenge in his voice, it was maddening. "You are insane," she whispered, but her voice lacked conviction. "Insane for you." He shot back smoothly, his smirk softening just slightly as his hand brushed her cheek. The tension thickened, the air practically buzzing with the weight of unspoken words and forbidden thoughts. The book slid forgotten onto the bed as he caged her in, his gaze burning holes through her defenses. Wine's pearls thundered in her ear as Jungkook hovered in front of her, every inch of him radiating danger and warmth at once. His words, his presence, his teasing, smirk. It was like stepping into the very pages of the book she had just been reading. She shot lightly at his chest, trying to create distance. You shouldn't even be here. What if my parents find out you climbed into my room at midnight? You will get both of us killed. But Jungkook didn't move back. Instead, he leaned against the edge of her desk, arms crossing over his chest as he tilted his head, eyes never leaving hers. The smirk softened into something more serious, something raw. You think I care about that right now? I couldn't even breathe knowing you were answering. Do you have any idea what that does to me? Her lips parted, but no words came out. The guilt sat heavy on her tongue. He looked so restless, so utterly undone, and it was all because of a stubborn habit of silencing her phone when she read. She tried to laugh it off, though her voice came out weaker than intended. I didn't know you would go full stalker mode over a few missed calls. Not stalker mode, he corrected, his tone dropping lower. Fiance mode, there is a difference. Her stomach flipped. Fiance. That word still sent shivers down her spine, no matter how many times she heard it. He pushed off the desk in one smooth move, closing the space between them again. His hand brushed the book lying abandoned on her bed, his fingers tracing over the words as if mocking her once more. You like this book, huh? His voice carried a playful lilt. You look like you were about to eat this sad meadow sky alive with those eyes. I was not, she protested instantly, reaching to snatch the book away, but he pulled it back, flipping to a page. His voice arched as he scanned another paragraph, lips curling in amusement. He hummed, reading aloud again. His lips brushed her throat, his grip firm as though he had never let her escape. Her cheeks flamed. Stop reading that aloud. Why? He tilted his head, stepping closer until her back hit the headboard of her bed. Embarrassed or imagining it? Her breath hitched. The room suddenly felt smaller, hotter. His voice, low and teasing, sank into her skin like ink. You're unbelievable, she whispered, though her hands betrayed her, fishing in the silk of her nightdress just to ground herself. He smirked, his fingers brushing a strand of her hair back. Unbelievable for you, maybe. For a moment silence stretched between them. His gaze burned into hers, unrelenting, as if he was waiting for her to deny what they both knew was simmering in the air. Then with a sharp breath, she snatched the book from his hands and shoved it under a pillow. You're not regretting anything, Jungkook. He chuckled, low and husky, leaning back just enough to study her flushed face. We will see about that. She glared at him, though her blush betrayed her. So you are impossible to stop? And you love it? He shot back instantly. The tension cracked then, replaced by reluctant laughter that bubbled out of her chest. He grinned at the sound, eyes softening as though all his earlier frustration melted away with that single laugh. But even in that softened moment, the undercurrent of something more, something unspoken, still pulsed between them. Jungkook slid down onto the bed beside her, his arm brushing hers. The closeness was electric, their thighs almost touching, their shoulders barely apart. He let out a long sigh, the weight of his earlier worry finally slipping off. Next time, at least text me you're busy, he muttered. Do you know how insane I felt imagining all kinds of nonsense because you wouldn't pick up? Her guilt bickered again. Softer this time, she peeked at him through her lashes. Her voice squared. I'm sorry, I really didn't notice. He glanced at her, his jaw unclenching, and then because he couldn't resist, he flicked her forehead lightly with his finger. You owe me for that, big time. She rubbed her forehead with a pout. And what exactly do you want this paycheck? He smirked, his gaze flickering deliberately to the pillow where her book was hidden. Oh, I will think of something. Maybe I will let your precious book decide. Her eyes widened. Don't you dare. But he only laughed, leaning back against the headboard as if he owned the space. His hand brushed against hers casually, deliberately, and though she didn't move away, her heart raced at the contact. The night began to stretch on around them, the silence outside broken only by the hum of their breathing and the distant ticking of her clock. Inside that room, though, everything felt alive, charged with the kind of tension that books could only attempt to describe, and neither of them seemed to hurry to end it. The darkness in Wine's room had settled into a quiet rhythm after some time, until Jungkook's smirk made it impossible to maintain any sense of calm. He leaned back slightly on the edge of her bed, one arm propped behind him, studying her like a predator, savoring every flutter of her heartbeat. Wine, still clutching her pillow like a shield, gave him a poignant glare. You are insane, you know that? And yet, here I am, he replied smoothly, voice low and teasing, breaking all the rules just to see you. That makes me dedicated. Her cheeks burned, and she couldn't help but glance down at the book she had shoved under the pillow. She hated how her pulse betrayed her, how the sound of his voice made every nerve in her body come alive. Dedicated? Huh? Is that what we are calling trespassing into bedrooms at midnight now? He chuckled, moving just a fraction closer. You act like I'm the bad guy. You were ignoring my calls, leaving me no choice but to rescue you from your boring bookish solitude. Rescue me? She scoffed, but a tiny smile threatened to escape. You mean invade my personal space while I am reading? And yet you don't seem to mind, he countered, eyes glinting with mischief, her hands fisted in the silk of her nightdress, trying to anger herself. Of course I mind, she insisted, though her racing heart told a different story. Jungkook tilted his head, a playful glint in his eyes. Really? You're not at the least bit tempered to admit that maybe, just maybe, you like having me here? Wine felt her face heated instantly. I know, that's ridiculous. He leaned down suddenly, his lips dangerously close to her ear. So ridiculous that it makes your heartbeat speed up? She froze, breath hitching as his warm breath brushed her skin, her book forgotten under her pillow. Her defenses were crumbling, but she wasn't about to give him the satisfaction. You are so annoying, she hissed, swatting at him weakly. And I love you, he countered effortlessly, sliding his hand lightly over hers as they rested on the bed. Vine's eyes widened. That touch, that casual intimacy sent a jolt through her. She could feel the heat of his body, the strength in his presence. This time that night, she couldn't find the words to push him away. Jungkook grinned, leaning back just slightly to watch her reaction. See, I knew it. That's the real reason you didn't answer my calls. You were too busy with Saint Meadows here. He gestured to the book under the pillow, voice teasing but gentle. Stop mentioning him. She snapped through her voice, carried no real conviction. He laughed softly, brushing a stray lock of her hair from her face. You're adorable when you try to act annoyed, But don't worry, I won't tell your secret to anyone. Vine let out a relieved breath, though her heart was still racing. Your secret is safe too, Jungkook, for now. He smirked. For now? Her eyes narrowed. Yes, for now. Don't push your luck. He leaned closer again, dangerously close, and whispered, Lucky for me, patience isn't one of my virtues. Her chest tightened and she realized she was laughing, though it sounded breathless and flustered. You are insufferable, aren't you? I don't know how will I survive after marrying you. And yet, he said softly, brushing his thumb over hers, you are still here and going to marry me anyway. The moment stretched, charged and fragile, until a soft sigh escaped her lips. She turned her head slightly, pushing against a pillow, still too flustered to meet his gaze. Jungkook, sensing victory, leaned back but kept his hand close, their fingers almost brushing, letting the tension simmer a moment longer. All right, he said, finally with mock reluctance. I suppose I should let you get back to your thrilling story. Vine's scare was playful, full of mock intrigue, thrilling, yes, and you are not allowed to interrupt again. I will try, but no promises. He teased, leaning back against the headboard, casually brushing his hair out of his eyes. As he watched her settle into her book again, for the next few minutes, the room was silent except for the soft flipping of pages and the faint hum of the night outside. But the energy between them had shifted, closer, warmer, heavier. Both were aware of the electricity in the air, the unspoken tension that neither wanted to address fully yet. Finally, Vine glanced up from her book, catching him watching her. Are you really just going to sit there all night? He smirked. Maybe, or maybe I will wait for you. The perfect moment to steal another paragraph, or maybe steal you away for a little while. She groaned softly, hiding her face behind the book, but her heart in her cheeks betrayed her. You're hopeless, Jungkook. And you, he countered gently, leaning close enough that she could feel his warmth, are too impossible to resist, baby. Vine lay sprawled on her bed after taking a sharp look at him, her silk nightdress catching the dim light, her hair messy from shifting positions. She tried to immerse herself in the story again, but her eyes kept flicking to the figure on the edge of her bed. Jungkook watched her with a soft smirk, the way the lamp light hit her skin making his chest tighten. He hadn't moved much, pretending to give her space, but the truth was that every fiber of his being wanted to lean closer, brush a hand over hers, and steal a small smile he knew she was trying to hide. You're awfully quiet now, he teased, breaking the silence, his voice low enough to make her spine tingle. I'm reading, she said sharply, but her eyes betrayed her, darting to his every movement. He raised a brow. Reading? You have barely turned a page in the last 10 minutes. Her face flamed. Okay, maybe I got distracted. Distracted by me? His smirk deepened, and he leaned back against the headboard, arms crossed, leaving her full weight of that infuriating magnetic gaze. She pressed her lips together, pretending to be annoyed, though her heartbeat betrayed her. Don't flatter yourself. Flattery, he countered, standing suddenly and striding toward the pillow where her book hid. He crouched beside her, plucking it out effortlessly. I wouldn't call it flattery if it's true, princess. She lunged forward, trying to grab it back, but he held it just out of reach, their fingers pressed, sending sparks through both of them. Jungkook, she whispered, half annoyed, half gasping. You are tense, he said softly, tilting his head as their faces drew closer. I can feel it. Relax. I'm relaxed, she protested, though her chest tightened and her hands trembled slightly from her closeness. Uh-uh, he murmured, brushing his stray hair behind her ear. Then why do you keep leaning away? She froze, eyes locking with his, feeling heat rise to her cheeks. His hand lingered, brushing against her skin lightly. I'm not leaning, she stammered. He chuckled softly, the sound low and intimate. Sure, you are just cautiously flirting with danger. I get it. Her breath caught at the nearness of his voice. She tried to focus on the book, on the pages that now seemed dull and irrelevant, but it was impossible. Jungkook's presence was magnetic, drawing her attention whether she wanted it or not. Do you want me to put it back? She asked nervously, gesturing toward the book in his hands. He shook his head, eyes darkening with mischief. Not yet. I want to hear you read a passage aloud for me. Her eyes widened. Stop it. She tried to smack him with the book. Haha, you're so cute, he whispered, leaning closer until his lips brushed her ears. Her body reacted before her mind could catch up. She shivered, pressing back instinctively, though her hands were too slow to stop him from nudging her closer. Wine, he murmured, his hand brushing the side of her face gently, thumb caressing her cheek. You have no idea how much I wanted this, wanted you. Her heart hammered. She tried to speak, to protest, but the words stuck in her throat. I can't, he continued, voice low. I can't just stay away when you're right here, when I can see your face, hear your laugh, feel the warmth of you, but I can't do anything to you. She swallowed hard, eyes locked on his, feeling the raw honesty behind the teasing grin. You really can't stay away? No, he admitted, closing the distance slightly. Not when I feel like this around you, not when you look at me like that, even when you're trying not to. She looked down at her hands, fidgeting, but she couldn't pull away completely. The tension was too thick, the attraction too strong. Then she whispered, barely audible, What now? He tilted his head, his lips dangerously close. Now we see how much you can resist me and I can resist you. Her breath hitched, chest tightening. She tried to pull back, but he moved with her, reading her reactions like an open book. Every small sigh, every subtle glance only drew him closer. Stop teasing me, she gasped, though her voice was more breathless than angry. Stop lying to yourself, he countered, his voice a low murmur as he brushed a hand over hers again. You're enjoying this, admit it. I'm not, she stammered, though her fingers twitched against his. He smirked knowingly, leaning closer until his lips hovered just above hers. You are, and I can see it. I feel it. Don't fight it. Her knees buckled slightly at the intensity, and in her for a moment, as if trying to hide, trying to collect herself. Why? He whispered, gently tilting her chin up, forcing her to meet his gaze. Look at me just once. Her eyes wide and glistening met his. The tension was unbearable, a mix of frustration, desire, and something deeper, something that neither of them had fully named yet. He leaned ever closer, breath mingling with hers, until the world shrank down to just two of them, the room and the electricity crackling in the air. Tell me you are not tempted, he murmured, voice husky. I'm not, she began, but her words faltered under the weight of its stare, under the pull of proximity and desire. Exactly, he whispered, smirking softly, and that's why I can't leave, not yet. The men stretched endlessly as they hovered there, bodies close, breaths mingling, the room charged with anticipation. Neither crossed the line fully yet, but the pull between them was undeniable and irresistible as the minutes passed by, like a promise of everything yet to come. Vine sat cross-legged on her bed, pretending to read again, though she hadn't turned a page in 5 minutes. The letters blurred her thoughts, a mess of nerves and racing heartbeats. Jungkook was sitting far too close beside her, his knee brushing hers, pretending to scroll through his phone, but clearly not focused on the screen. Every time their knees touched, she felt her pulse jump. Every time he exhaled, she saw she could feel it against her skin. You are really not going to look at me? Jungkook said finally, his voice low, teasing. I'm trying to read, she murmured, eyes fixed on the book, though her voice trembled slightly. Oh, really? He leaned closer, his tone playful but soft, brushing the edge of his shoulder with his. Because from here, it looks like you have been stuck on the page for the past 10 minutes, just like before. Her breath caught. She turned a fraction toward him, trying to sound annoyed but failing miserably. Maybe I'm just savoring the words. He smiled faintly. "Mm, Or maybe the person sitting beside you is too distracting." Her eyes flicked to his for just a heartbeat. A mistake. His gaze was steady, dark, and warm, and kind that made her stomach flip and her throat tighten. She looked away quickly. You wish, she whispered, hoping it sounded convincing. Jungkook tilted his head, amused. Do I? He asked softly, his voice a quiet challenge. The tension thickened, wrapping around them like invisible threads. He shifted slightly closer, the mattress dipping under his weight. The faint scent of his cologne, something clean, warm, maddeningly familiar, filled her head. Vine's fingers tightened on the edge of her book. You are too close, she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. He didn't move. Am I? Jungkook, she started, but her voice betrayed her. Breath catching on his name, he smirked faintly, his voice dropping to a murmur. You know, you are really bad at hiding when you're nervous. I'm not. Yes, you are. He cut in softly, his tone almost tender now. You bite your lower lip when you're trying not to smile. You tuck your hair behind your ear when you're flustered. You have done both in the last 30 seconds. Her heart thudded painfully. She swallowed, trying to find words. You notice too much. That's because I can't look away, he said simply. Her throat went dry, the air between them crackled, not loud, not visible, but powerful enough to make her forget how to breathe. She forced a shaky laugh. You're unbelievable. Unbelievably drawn to you, he murmured without hesitation. Her eyes widened, and for a long charged second neither moved. Then Jungkook leaned in a little closer, just enough that his breath brushed her cheek. Vine, he said softly, almost a warning, almost a plea. You make it really hard to be a good boy. I just wanted to see you, but look where I am now. She blinked, pulse hammering. Then don't try so hard, she whispered, the words escaping before she could stop them. His eyes darkened, the playful smirk giving way to something deeper, a storm barely contained. You don't know what you're seeing, he whispered, though the tremor in his voice betrayed his control slipping. Maybe I do, she said just as softly. I'll that all it was shook. Jungkook's hand moved before his mind caught up. His fingers brushed her jaw, feather light, like a question waiting for an answer. Vine froze, eyes wide. But she didn't pull away. Her breath came out shaky, and for a heartbeat they just stared at each other, caught in that impossible space between hesitation and want. Then he leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't wild or rash, it was soft, trembling, the kind of kiss that tastes like uncertainty and electricity all at once. She made a small sound, half surprise, half surrender, and for a second he almost pulled back. But she tilted her head just slightly, And that was all the answer he needed. The book slipped from her fingers. His hand moved to her waist, careful, steady. The world outside the room disappeared. There was only her heartbeat in his chest, his breath against her lips, the fragile rhythm of two people realizing just how close, too close really was. When he finally pulled away, his forehead rested against hers, breath uneven. I shouldn't have, he whispered. Her lips tingled. Then, why did you? She asked, voice barely audible. He opened his eyes slowly, meeting hers. Because you make it impossible not to. Silence fell again, not awkward, but heavy with everything they weren't saying. Vine's chest rose and fell quickly. She swallowed hard, trying to calm the chaos inside her, but his gaze lingered on her lips, and for a second he looked like he might lose the fragile hold he had on herself. Jungkook, she whispered, but her voice trailed off as he leaned in again, brushing his nose against hers. Don't look at me like that, he murmured, his tone almost desperate. I will forget what we are. She smiled faintly. Maybe that's not so bad. He laughed quietly, breathless, shaking his head. You have no idea what you do to me. The lips brushed again, soft, floating, not quite a kiss this time, but the promise of one. He was close enough that she could feel the tremor in his breathing, the warmth radiating from him like fire. Vine, he whispered again, her name a plea on his lips, and that's where the world still, on the edge of chaos, control slipping like sand through the fingers. Neither knew who moved first, her hand brushing his body leaning just a little more forward, but before they could think, he was over her, hovering. Their faces only inches apart, eyes locked, hearts pounding. No, we should not do it before our marriage, as we promised to our parents. He looked at her confused for a second and placed a kiss on her cheek. Couldn't process it for a moment. Then he chuckled softly, breaking the smell just enough for her to breathe again. But you should probably put that book away, he teased, nodding toward haunting Adeline, lying face down beside them. It's dangerous. Wine managed a shaky laugh. Says the man who broke into my house at midnight. Correction, he said, leaning back against her headboard as if he owned the place. I broke in because you ignored me. She rolled her eyes but couldn't suppress a smile tugging at her lips. Maybe I just wanted peace and quiet for one night. Jungkook grinned, reaching out to tap the cover of the book. And this was your definition of peace? Don't judge my breeding choices, she said, crossing her arms in mock defense. Oh, I'm not judging, he murmured, leaning in again. I'm just wondering if you're leaning dangerous ideas from it. She raised an eyebrow. Dangerous? How? He smoked. The kind that makes you look at me like that? Like what? Like you're about to start trouble? Wine's laugh came out softer than she intended, laced with nerves. Maybe you already started it. He tilted his head, eyes gleaming. Then maybe I should finish it. The words hung in the air, bolder than either of them expected. Her breath caught again, and for a moment neither spoke. The room seemed smaller now, the moonlight sharper. Jungkook's hand brushed against hers once more, accidental, deliberate, impossible to tell. She could feel his pulse through his fingertips, fast and steady, her gaze flicked up to meet his. And suddenly they were back in that dangerous space between thought and action. Jungkook, she said, his name breaking softly from his lips. Yeah, maybe we should stop like you said earlier, he exhaled softly. A rueful smile forming. You're probably right, but he didn't move away just yet. His eyes lingered on her face, on the faint color rising in her cheeks. Still, you make it really hard to have self-control. Her laugh trembled. Flattery won't save you when my parents find out you're here. I will take my chances. He reached out, brushing his thumb lightly across her hand again. You are worth the risk. He glanced at her lips and then to her eyes, only to look at her lips. Damn, they promised. I can't control anymore. He pinned Wine against the bed, placing him on top of her. What are you doing? I'm going to kiss you and demonstrate what's written in that little book of yours. But in real, full motion. No backing away now. He leaned in, pressing his body fully into hers. She could feel how hard it is when it touched her skin. The lips were inches apart from exploding into something more. Click. The doorknob turned. Wine froze, a shriek threatening to escape her throat. She scrambled backwardly slightly, but there wasn't enough room on the bed. Her cheeks burned hot enough to feel the heat in her hairline. Her mother's voice cut through the air. Wine? Jungkook? The two of them froze, Jungkook's eyes widened just enough to betray the panic that masked his usually calm smirk. Wine whispered frantically, hide now. Hiding? Jungkook muttered under his breath, voice tense, eyes darting around the small room. I'm fine here. No, we will die here. Mother-in-law is going to kill us both. She hissed. Before he could argue, the door swung open fully. Her parents stood in the doorway, eyes widening at the tableau before them. Wine curled back on the bed, cheeks flaming and Jungkook hovering close, foreheads nearly touching, eyes locked. A moment of perfect stunned silence passed. Good morning? Jungkook offered weakly, giving them an awkward half smile, one hand raised in a faint wave. Wine groaned softly, pressing her face into her hands. Why now? Why today of all days? Her mother's lips twitched, suppressing both amusement and disbelief. Jungkook in her room at this hour? Jungkook straightened as much as one could in his current position and gave an earnest shrug. I was worried. She wasn't answering her phone and I came to check on her. Her father's brow froze. Check on her at midnight. In this position, his gaze flickered to the bed, then back to Jungkook. Explain. Wine peeked from behind her hands, mortified while Jungkook's smirk faltered into a genuine panic. Well, maybe I have. Leaned in a bed, but nothing happened. He offered, voice cracking slightly. Leaning in, her mother's eyebrows shot up. You're practically on top of her. No, not exactly. Jungkook stammered, glancing at Wine, who was now attempting to bury herself under the blanket entirely. It just sort of happened. Her father shook his head, lips twitching. Both of you, this is unbelievable. You both are going to marry anyway, so have some patience. Jungkook ran a hand through his hair, looking sheepish but still managing a faint mischievous grin. We lost track of time. It's very intense when we are together. Wine groaned, wishing she could melt into the mattress. Jungkook, please, she whispered, voice muffled. Her mother still smirking, picked up the file and book. So this intense moment was inspired by this book? Jungkook blinked, eyes starting to the book. Well, she was reading it and it was intense, very compelling material. Compelling, her mother repeated, raising an eyebrow. That explains a lot. Wine groaned so loudly it could have shattered glass. I'm never leaving this town. Her father shook his head again, suppressing a laugh. Jungkook, you're lucky. She seems patient. Is this a serious offense? I understand, Jungkook said immediately, trying to look contrite, though a faint smirk betrayed him. I will be going now. No, wait, Wine whispered, panic. You can't just. He gave her a cheeky grin, leaning close to give her a cute, playful flying kiss. Consider it my goodbye for now, he whispered, and with that he slipped toward the window, moving with the ease of someone who had practiced escape like this too many times. Wine sank back into the mattress, face blurred in her hands, cheeks flaming hotter than ever. Her parents were still standing in the doorway, exchanging amused, slightly horrified glances. Her mother finally shook her head. And you are in for it, young lady. Her father smirked, but at least he is entertaining. Vine groaned again, her voice muffled by the pillow. I'm doomed. Vine stayed on the bed, face buried in her hands, and for what it felt like a full minute, the echo of Jungkook's flying kiss and the near impossible tension they had shared still lingered in the air. Her chest felt tight, her ears hot, and her hands were trembling slightly from the adrenaline surge. Her mother finally let out a quiet chuckle. You are far too calm, considering wine peeked through her fingers. I'm not calm, she whispered, though the word felt like a lie. Her father crossed his arms, a faint smile tugging at his lips. It seems to me, he said slowly, that Jungkook has a very strong influence on you. You two can't even keep a promise you made with us. Vine groaned again, pressing this pillow to her face. Strong influence? Dad, he's a menace. Menace? Maybe, her mother said, shaking her head. But I can't, Jenny. He's charming and persistent, even though you're already his fiancée. I thought you guys should be mad. Why should we? He is your fiancé. Vine tilted her hair back slightly, groaning so audibly it would have set off alarms. I'm going to die out of embarrassment, she muttered, her father chuckled, leaning against the doorframe. You will survive eventually, but this is going to be a strong story we tell for years. No, stop, Vine protested, though her voice was tinged with helpless laughter. Her mother's smile knowingly stepped closer. We just want to understand, why is he here at midnight? Why are you like this? She gestured vaguely toward the bed. Vine shrank further into herself. It was nothing. We were reading and talking. Her father raised an eyebrow. Talking at this hour? Yes, talking, she said quickly, nearly squeaking. And he just came over because I wasn't answering his calls. Her mother's lips twitched. Sound serious? Vine groaned again, pressing her face harder into the pillow. You don't understand. It wasn't like anything. Her father smirked faintly. We understand enough. The doorbell of subtle amusement and embarrassment lingered. Vine felt like she could melt into the floor. Her mother chuckled softly, clearly enjoying the chaos. Jungkook seems very dedicated. I suppose you two have a lot of energy for your age. Mom, Vine groaned, wishing fervently she could vanish. Meanwhile, outside her room, Jungkook had slipped down the fire escape, landing silently on the lawn. He pulled out his phone, typing a quick message to Vine. If you tell your parents what really happened, I will deny everything. But if you blush thinking of me, I will. Vine's phone burst on the nightstand. Her cheeks heated as she snatched it up and saw the message. He's impossible, she muttered, fingers hovering over the keyboard. She typed a reply. You are in so much trouble. I know, but it's worth it. Her heart thumped so fast she could feel it in her throat. She buried her face in her pillow again, flustered beyond repair. Her mother leaned down, picking up the book Vine had abandoned during the chaos. And you were reading this for enjoyment? She asked, flipping a page. Seems very captivating. Vine groaned louder, wishing she could disappear. Mom! The room fell quiet for a few minutes after her parents left the room, saying goodnight and good morning at the same time. The room filled only with the soft hum of the fan and Vine muffled groans. Then her phone buzzed again, another message from Jungkook. Promise me one thing, you are thinking about me, aren't you? Anger, she muttered, but even as she said it, her lips quirked into a tiny helpless smile. Another message popped up. No, you don't. You love me and I love you. Now sleep tight, princess, if you don't want me to come in and kiss you again.